Is it live?
It is.
Yes.
We're getting pretty good at this.
I know.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be discussing some topics, and the 5 topics are substance abuse, divorce and family issues, work-home balance, same-sex relationships, and workplace dating relationships. So just think about those for a second. Do you need me to go over them again?
No, you're fine. Go
Okay.
ahead. Oh, just speak it for me.
What happened?
Okay.
It said to have you guys choose one, but I think I'm just going to go through each topic and we can talk and discuss about it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Rather than putting everybody on the spot, just we'll have a nice discussion. Okay. So from those 5 topics, consider sharing like your own life experiences, as well as what you have learned in this class about human resource management. So thinking on the topic of substance abuse in like the workplace, what kind of experiences have you guys had with that, if any?
I've had one.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So recently, actually very recently, we had an employee who disappeared while we were at work with one of the work vehicles, stranding a bunch of us at a job site. And he wasn't back at the end of the day when we normally leave, and we're like, what the heck? And we'd call him, and he either wouldn't pick up his phone or he would just say, I'll just be there when I'll be there, and was super blunt and rude and would just hang up. Come to find out, he took one of the company vehicles during company time and was off buying drugs, and it literally affected him so much that he couldn't like handle himself, I guess. And
You couldn't drive to come back and get you.
yeah, so he
Right?
He eventually came back. He was like an hour late, so we were all super late getting home that evening, and we were all very frustrated with him. And he wouldn't say where he was. He just was being super elusive. Oh, I was out, because we have a manufacturer. We install closets, kind of like classy closets or California closets, where do stuff like that. So he's like, oh, I was just off getting a shipment at our manufacturer. And we're like, well, we
Yeah,
called
right.
them and you were never there. So, anyways, he was just super elusive. And when you would ask him questions, he got really aggressive and angry at you. Like, come to find out, we heard him bragging because we're working at a big condo unit that's under construction. And he was bragging to some of the other, I guess, rougher characters around the construction site the other day, how he was able to take a company van and go buy drugs on company time and all that. And either way, the boss knew that he took the van. He just didn't know why. He knew that he took it on a joyride, and he wasn't fired, but he was talked to and like pretty much put on thin ice. Like, hey, listen here, you can't just take company vehicles, and whether you were out getting groceries, whether you went and took a nap, like you can't just go do that on the job site, like especially without informing anyone or like telling your supervisor. And we heard him bragging to other people around the construction site that he had taken the vehicle to go get drugs and that he was out doing stuff. And he no longer works for this company.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's just kind of crazy that someone would, feel so entitled or feel so driven to go get their drugs that they would do something as drastic as that. And I mean, apparently he was on uh, a lot heavier drugs than just like recreational, like marijuana drug use. But either way, I mean, things like that, it's gonna ruin your life awful quick when you're pulling stunts like that at work.
Right. Yeah.
Let it have that much reign and power over you to let you ruin your life.
Yeah, that's not
I was
good.
gonna say like, oh, so they put him on a PIP.
Yeah.
Well, they fired him,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They put him on a short PIP.
Everyone that worked with him like immediately started not liking him because like that evening people had plans, we get out of work at a certain time. People have families, they have stuff to get home to, and he just wasn't there with the company vehicle for us to take home.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Wow. Yeah, that's not cool.
No, it wasn't.
I'd say if he still had a job after that, I'm really surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So I know that you touched on it a little bit, but how would this issue affect or impact the workplace?
It created a lot of negativity that day. Everyone was super angry.
Yeah.
And then it made everyone late for their obligations and just lives out of the workplace.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's definitely nothing that would be fun.
No.
Mm.
And it was really interesting actually this week reading the drug use article in the workplace because he fell under so many of those categories. As I was reading, I was like thinking of him. I'm like, he had major mood swings. He just fit into so many of the different categories. I'm like, wow. They had a list of everything. They had a list of everything right here in front of me.
So he'd been using drugs and then going to work as well.
Yeah, from what I can
come in
gather.
high. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the only way we knew him. So we just thought he was a goofy guy to begin with. But he was on drugs.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow. Yeah. Hmm.
Definitely not good.
Yeah.
Okay, so and put yourself in the shoes of the manager or your boss or whoever, and how would you address this issue in the workplace?
I would have fired him so quick.
I certainly can't blame you in that regard, although definitely what I wanted to do is definitely give that boy a drug test. And once it came back positive that he was taking drugs, sit him down and say, look, we are a drug-free company. If you cannot abide by this, or if you're not going to be committed to doing your best at the workplace, we will let you go. But because we don't want you to get hurt or we want to help you get better, we will try and find a way to kind of help you get over your addictions. And I know on the drug abuse reading that we had this week, they had some hotline numbers that would definitely be helpful. So that would be something I would try to do as a manager first, especially when I started like seeing him constantly angry or being late or moody. And then of course, once he took the company truck, I'd be like, goodbye.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't have any real idea until he did that.
No,
right?
I just thought he was
Kind of weird.
kind of
Kind of weird.
yeah. And he often took off Mondays, which made sense because he would be out doing drugs all weekend. And he would just oh, sorry about that. He would call out sick on Mondays, just say, yeah, I'm sick.
I am really surprised he had a job after that too, because most employers will not put up with that, especially when it's a habit. Like every Monday, you call in every Monday, they don't put up with that very long.
Yeah. He was, I don't know.
Yeah, well, now you know why.
Yep.
Yeah.
But not to do in the workplace. Don't do what that guy did.
Well, don't do it at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah,
They do the
exactly.
drugs.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So we're gonna move on to the next topic, unless anybody else has anything to add. All good? Any good?
Good.
So we're gonna move on to divorce and family issues.
I can take a stab at that since my family kind of went through a divorce and a family issue. Most of it was around when I was in middle school. My mom was wanting to file a divorce from my dad, and he was a trucker, so he worked really long hours, and he was very rarely home. If he was home, he was only home maybe for like 4 hours, and then he was back on the road again. And
Wow.
for my mom, it was really hard for her trying to find a balance between being a mom, being a wife, trying to work a little bit and provide for the family and everything when my dad wasn't there. But it just got to the point where his hours were driving them apart, and they kind of fell apart as a couple. So my mom, instead of filing for divorce right away, she separated from my dad. And unfortunately, my older sister went to Oklahoma with my mom's parents because they were moving out there. And my sister was like, yeah, I'll go out there for the summer and everything, and then I'll come back for school. And we're like, okay, whatever. Well, my mom and I moved to Redlands, which was about 45 minutes away from where my dad lived. And overall, my experience in middle school was terrible. I absolutely hated it. It was really hard for me trying to understand that my parents were not going to get back together, that, of course, it wasn't me or my sister's fault, but I was like, I'm sorry for what I did. And it was really, really heartbreaking because I didn't know what to do. My mom was trying to find a way to explain it to me, but I was just in such a delicate frame of mind at that point because I was so used to my family always being together. I'm like, what's going to happen? And she didn't really know at that point. So a lot of it was just a lot of, oh, thank you, Elvis. A lot of heartbreak and a lot of confusion and a lot of angry moments. And I know with that, it definitely affected my parents at work. My mom had a very hard time trying to stay productive. She was always not calling off, but constantly like trying to talk to her boss and say, hey, I can't focus. Can I take a few minutes? I got to regroup. And then can I come back, or can I take a project home? And so there are a lot of times she would try and bring some work home or just like telecommute and everything. And it was definitely hard.
Put a lot of stress. Yeah, put a lot of stress in your family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really difficult.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But you turned out very well.
I did, yeah. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is I'm back with my dad just because for him right now he has some health issues to where he can't drive. And my mom, she's fine. I still talk to her every single day, and my parents get along. It was just now that my dad, with his health issues, he can't work as a trucker, they get along great. So I'm like, really? I'm like, Dad, you should have just quit your job and gotten something else.
Right? Yeah. He probably thought, though, he couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, well, he hates like sitting at a computer. He's not tech smart at all. I had to teach him how to turn on the computer. He thought basically talking sexy to it was a way to turn it on. And so I walk over and I'm like, Dad, there's 2 buttons you push. One for the monitor, the other for the tower. I'm like, that's all you do.
Did he watch Star Trek?
Yeah, he did.
That's where he got that from, Star Trek.
Yep. And that's what he told me, and I'm like, no. I'm like, Dad, you fail.
I'm
So
sorry.
it's a lot of fun.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
My poor dad. So yeah, he could not deal with computers, so he couldn't be in an office. He just likes being outdoors.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. Do we want to move on to the next subject, or does anybody else have anything to add?
We can move on if you want.
Okay. Okay, so the next topic is work-home balance.
Yeah.
I kind of don't have one right now.
You don't have a work-home balance?
No.
Yeah.
I really liked that article about talking about how the typical 9-to-5 job structure is like perfect for the 60s when everyone worked in like factories, but it doesn't fit the modern day lifestyles. I was all over that. I was like, yes, let me work from home and from my computer and on the road. I'm all about that. I love that. We're all in online schooling right now. We're not on campus going to classes in the mornings, you know. It's so much more convenient to be able to schedule the bulk of your work around what you need to get done in like the rest of the aspects of your life, you know? I mean, we have our group meetings weekly, but that's an hour out of our week. The rest of the work we do for the class is on our time. I love that.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
flexibility
that's working good. Do what? What's that?
is amazing.
Oh, I really like that too. Right now I'm working nights, so I spend the afternoons getting all my homework done. And it actually lets me spend more time on it and do better on it.
Mm.
Right on.
Well,
What?
I have an example
Okay.
of my home balance, I guess, would be my schooling and the stuff that I do at home. And then my work, before, how long? It's been 3 months, a little over 3 months since I got my new job. Before I was working 2 jobs. And I worked here where I live in Burbank. And then I also worked in Monrovia, which is about 22 miles away. And on a good day, it was 30 to 45 minutes in the morning. But at night, when I would drive home, it would be 45 to an hour.
Oh.
Mm.
Ouch.
A lot of the my homework and my home life would bleed into my work. So when I was at my job in Monrovia, if I had time, I would be doing homework. So I would be like multitasking, I was doing all kinds of stuff. And it was the same when I was working here. It was, I was thinking about what I had to do the next day and what homework assignments I needed to get done, what projects. And it was just to the point where I was like all bleeding through. It was getting kind of stressful for me.
Oh, I can see that for sure.
It still kind of is now since I'm working full time. I go to work early in the morning and then I don't get home until later at night. But it's less because I don't have the drive time, which chews up a lot of the time that I would normally take to do my homework. So that's my example of work-life balance.
Aren't you glad you don't have to drive to campus for a night class?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had to take a few night classes and it was probably a good 25, 30-minute drive to campus. Then you spend a good 2 hours there and then driving back and it's almost 10 by the time you get back home.
Exactly.
And that shoots the whole evening. You have to do that once a week.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the online thing too, the online courses. So
I feel like some of the worst grades I've gotten in college are on campus because I wouldn't show up to all my classes because I would get busy with stuff. And I would do fine
Right.
on tests, quizzes, all the assignments. I would do my reading, but like sometimes I had trouble fitting the schools into my schedule. And so I was like, well, I could still, do well on this upcoming test as long as I study hard. And I would not go to my class, and then it would still affect my grade, which frustrated me because I was like, I'm getting the learning that you're requiring of me, but at the same time, you're discounting my grade because I didn't show up to your lecture.
Right.
So
right.
I really like the freedom and flexibility this gives.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a lot of self-motivation though to get everything done. You don't have to go, this is due this date. And
Oh yeah.
you have to make sure you're on top of the due dates, but yeah.
Exactly. I actually find that I don't have that problem because a lot of people say the same thing. Oh, I wouldn't have the ability to keep my own schedule or whatever. But this, I find I actually like it better.
Yeah.
Only problem I've ever had with procrastination has been this semester. It's been really bad on my part. I had to do my internship for this semester. I did the beginning one, and I'm already working part-time at Stater Brothers. I'm trying to go to school and take care of my dad. And then I had to go to Redlands and do my internship, which was Monday through Wednesday, and I only had Thursday off. So unfortunately, during my internship, I only really focused on the homework in this class, and then the other assignments, I'm like, oh yeah, I have time, I'll get to it. And now I'm just like Yeah, I've got most of them done, but it's still, I'm like, I could have worked on this a little bit earlier. But my bed was super comfy, and I'm sorry, I love sleep.
Yeah.
Just like my
Same.
best friend.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next topic, which is same-sex relationships.
Quiet.
Never had one.
Well,
Don't know a lot.
That's good.
I have some friends that are in same-sex relationships, but I've never been in one, and I've never actually worked with someone, at least that I know of, that has been in one. So I don't feel like I could actually contribute to this part with a purpose or a meaningful experience of my own, if that makes any sense.
I don't think
I-
I've ever worked with anyone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I worked with I'm working a temp job, and this one guy showed up for about 2 days, but come to find out he had a live-in boyfriend, but he didn't tell any of the guys that. He told the girls that. Somebody, you know, the girls probably take it better than the guys would.
Yeah.
And then it seems like, well, I have a cousin that she came out of the closet a few years back too. So I mean, love her to death. She's funny and love her to death, but her choices are, you know,
Mhm.
sometimes. So that's the experience I have with that.
I've worked with some people who are, but I don't have any real like experience with it. I mean, it's not like I know anything about it. So I just worked with a couple people who are, but not like they share anything.
Well, I think a lot of people don't share it with people. They probably keep it secret. I bet there's a lot more out there than we realize. It's just they don't want to talk about it with other people, afraid what other people might say or what, you know, the repercussions that might happen or whatever.
Exactly.
I think it's more prevalent than we realize.
Oh yeah, I fully agree.
I feel like in the same sense though, if you just treat them as if it's someone talking about a guy talking about going out on a date with a girl, say, oh, I don't know, if you just treat them exactly the same, react the same, I don't see how it should be any issue. I mean,
You mentioned that.
maybe with if there's other people in the workplace that might be an issue for them, then it could become something for you because you don't want to see someone treated unfairly or something like that. But I feel like for the most part, it's, you know, if they're talking about their plans for the weekend, taking their boyfriend or girlfriend on a date, whether they're same sex or not, just have the same reaction regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of the same feelings I had when I found out one of my friends she was in the same-sex relationships. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And she asked me, she's like, does it bother you? And I said, honestly, no. Like, it's not my preference. I'm not going to down you for it. But I said, it's not going to stop me from being your friend. Like, if you hit on me, I'll probably be like, wait, what are you doing? But other than that, I'm like,
Yeah.
friends forever. I'm like, why would that change how I feel about you? So I'm like, well, now I know if we ever go, and every once in a while there will be a little place where you can go and play pool, and they have music, and I'll go and I'll dance there. And before my fiance and I started going, I would have a lot of like those creepy guys kind of like walking over, and I'm like, quick, pretend you're my buddy or whatever, and like we'll just start like hanging out and be like, yeah, let's go play pool, and trying to avoid the creeper guys. And now I'm just like, dude, this isn't cool. I'm like, go get them. I throw her at the guys. I'm like, yeah, I gotta scare them off.
Go get them. Yeah. Yeah. But I think the one thing that the church they also tell us to still love them, be kind to them, don't be mean, don't say negative things to them.
Yeah.
Just still be friends with them, even though we don't appreciate their lifestyle, but so.
Oh, yeah. Because they still are going to be the same people we know and love. It's just the way I view it is it's like that one person in your family where say they come over and you hate their taste in music. It's just terrible. It's awful. You just can't say anything nice about it. But whenever they come over, you still love them because they're a great person, but you don't bring up the music conversation.
Hopefully they won't play the music while they're at your house.
Yeah. I told my grandpa that. I'm like, Grandpa, your music and it's bad. I'm like, yeah, that's so bad.
Playing stuff from the 40s or something, or what?
Keep that garbage at home, Grandpa.
This is gonna sound so bad. And for me, growing up with my dad's music and like heavy metal for the 80s, my grandpa loves country music. And it's not like the newer poppy country music that plays today. I don't have an issue with that. It's the old style country where
Yeah, it's twangy.
yeah, it just sounds like a lot of yodeling to me. And for me, it just, I have a hard time understanding why a person may be in love with their tractor. For me, I'm like, oh, I'm like, Grandpa, you need country music. Listen to rock or something.
That's funny because my daughter, she's 16. She says, you know why I don't like country music? It's so shallow. There's no depth to it. I go, wow. I said, well, I told her, so there is one song, Circle of Life, where a lady's car breaks down, a guy helps her, he changes her tire, she asks how much he owes him, he says, you don't owe me anything. She goes on to a diner, there's a woman in there that's pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and waits on this older lady, and then when she leaves, he leaves a $94 tip. And when the waitress goes home, come to find out her husband is the guy that helped the lady.
Aww.
Yeah, so it's Circle of Life. It's a good song.
Yeah.
Not the Lion King one.
No.
No.
I'm joking.
No.
I thought about that at first too, and then I'm like, wait, that wasn't country.
Elton John isn't country, is he?
I can tell you the name of the artist in the video. There's a music video if you want to watch it sometime.
Sure. Yeah, to anyone that loves country, I'm sorry. I won't hate on you for loving country. It's okay.
My whole family loves
like
country, but I never got into it.
But you know what? I don't like the old 50s country, but the country today sounds more like the pop of the 80s to me.
Yeah.
It really does. It's changed. It's
can
not
see
the old
that.
twangy stuff anymore.
Yeah. And I'm like, at least the newer stuff, I'm like, I don't mind it playing. I can enjoy most of the songs. And for me, I don't line dance, which is pretty sad. But I'm like, I can at least like kind of move around and be like, yay, without looking overly weird. Where the other songs, it was just you could only line dance to it. And I'm like, I suck at line dancing. This won't end well.
But line dancing looks cool if everybody's doing it good. Doing it well. If everybody's doing it well, it looks cool.
It
Yeah,
does.
me that looks like a fish out of water. I'm like, this isn't working. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. We got more miles out of that one.
Alrighty.
Okay.
The last topic is workplace dating relationships.
Oh, I got a story about that one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. I worked 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and we walked in and I was about halfway through the building. All of a sudden I heard all this yelling going on in the other end of the building. Like, what is going on? Come to find out, this young man and this young woman had been dating, and I don't know what he was telling her. He was yelling at her like nobody's business. And the next, about a minute later, he comes walking back real fast. He was very upset. A few minutes later, the girl comes walking back, and then we never saw either one of them ever again. They fired both of them.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they both quit.
No, they fired them both. Walked them both out right then.
For dating in the workplace?
No, for the outburst and the interactions that they had at work.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what he was yelling at her about. I did not understand a word he was saying, but I know he was angry, and he was ticked when he walked by me. But yeah, they and I never saw either one of them ever again. And that was last week.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So don't do it. It's not a good idea.
Mine is a little bit more positive. Mine kind of had a happy ending to it.
That's good.
Yeah, believe it or not, my fiance, when he showed up to my work, he was a new employee and I was still a courtesy clerk. So I was basically a bagger and a shopping cart collector. Well, my first assignment was to basically teach him, along with the other new recruits, of like basically how to do their job, show them what the ropes were, etc. And apparently, he did not have very nice things to say about me in the beginning. He thought I was very bossy, as he put it, because I didn't come over trying to be all friendly. I'm like, hey guys, this is my name. This is what you're expected to do. This is where you can find certain items. If you have a question, come and let me know, and I'll do my best to help you. But he kind of got upset that I wasn't trying to like, hey, let's be friends. So we didn't actually start dating until about a year later. And the only reason we started dating was because he had already put in his 2 weeks, and he was able to get on with his dad's company.
Okay.
So that was the only reason why I was able to date him, because I had people where they would bring it up to me before, like, hey, would you date a coworker? I'm like, no. Because at my job, we have a conflict of interest policy where if you are dating someone that you work with, they will transfer one of the parties to another store. And for me, I'm like, I love my store. I love my coworkers. Everyone I get along with great. And I like most of my customers, except during the holidays when they're a little crazy. So for me, I never wanted to risk it. But that would be the only positive outcome, is if they're already leaving. Because then at that point, you don't have to see them at work in case it doesn't end well, and you're not going to be making lovey-dovey eyes at each other because the other person isn't there. So yeah, that was my story.
Yeah, that's a much better story.
Yes, it had a happier ending.
Yes. I don't know if they went outside, made up, and went home or whatever, but
Well, they didn't go back to work that day, that's for sure.
they didn't. You're right. And they didn't go back in there either.
Oops.
So a follow-up question would be, if you were the manager, the boss or CEO, supervisor, whatever, if you saw workplace dating or relationships, or you knew of it, what would you do? How would you handle the situation?
Honestly, if I knew who the individuals were and I was seeing them, I would talk to both of them, and I would kind of pull them aside into like an office where others are not going to be able to hear the conversation, because I don't want to make a scene. That would be the worst thing I would want to do. But I would want to bring them into a secluded area and just kind of talk to them and say, I know you guys have your own personal lives. I understand that and I respect that. However, when you are at work, I need you to be working. So keep work stuff at work, keep your personal stuff at home. And if I catch you constantly doing this or doing it more, I'm afraid I will have to let one of you go because you're not doing your job. And then at
or even both, probably.
Yeah. And at that point, it would honestly kind of depend, I feel, on whether or not I would fire both. If they're both doing it like the same amount, where they're both not doing their job, then I would let both go. But if it's just one that's constantly like, oh, hey, let me do this, or hey, let me do that, and it's always one going over to the other, I would probably let that one go instead of the other.
Mm-hmm.
But that would kind of be my thoughts on that. It would definitely not be an easy subject to talk to them about.
Yeah.
But it would have to be handled. You'd have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I agree with the work stuff at work and the other stuff away from work.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about them wanting to date each other. If they want to date each other, that's fine. Just do it away from work.
Yeah. Do it off the clock.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And this would go in line with the work-home balance, having that separation between the two.
I found the name of that. His name is Clay Walker.
Clay
Okay.
Walker. Yep.
Clay Walker, and his song is Chain of Love.
Okay.
So if you type Chain of Love in YouTube or somewhere, you probably just
Find it.
probably show up, because I actually found it. I watched the video. So there you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so that's the end of the discussion for the workplace topics. What are some other issues that you think or have seen in society that are likely to impact your workplace in the future?
mannerisms. And what I mean by that is I work in retail, and I know a lot of people, they have the saying of treat people how you would like to be treated. That is one thing I would definitely point out, is that if you work in retail or you work with the public, it's hard trying to be polite to someone when they tell you that you're doing a terrible job and they're just verbally harassing you. So that is definitely something that would be a workplace issue, is trying to keep up morale with the employees and also maintain a safe environment for employees to work. Because I have seen customers go and retaliate against poor service on other people's vehicles, and it's not nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, holidays is when I don't like my customers.
Yes.
Yeah.
They get a little crazy.
Do you have the same regular customers?
I have some that are considered regulars. They shop at least once a week at my store. Others, they do shop there primarily. I just don't always get to see them, but I have some that I know on a first name basis.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering if you still like them.
Yeah, I do. It's just when they get a little crazy and they throw their 22-pound frozen turkey on my belt and it slams into my hand because they're just throwing everything on the check stand. I'm like, I don't like it right now. You have a bad attitude.
I don't like it.
Do you work at a chain grocery store or a small owned one?
It's a small owned one. It's mainly in Southern California. It's Stater Brother Markets. I'm a checker there, and I've been a checker for about a year. And honestly, this is like my second time doing holidays, and it's no better than the first time I did holidays. I'm like, people get a lot crazier. They don't think. They're very rude and impatient. And I have been literally cussed out by customers because of things that are completely out of my control. Like they'll bring in a coupon from another store, like say Target, for instance. And for us, we cannot accept competitor coupons. That is just our policy. And I will go and I'll explain it to them. And I've literally had them go and throw things at me. And
Really?
Saying I'm in competition and I'm being unhelpful and the B word. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like you really had any control over that anyway. Right.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, mannerisms. Have your manners.
Right.
Always be nice to people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially people who handle your food.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And in restaurants too.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I told people, I'm like, oh, you have eggs. It would be a shame if they all smashed before you got home. I'm like, you better check your attitude before you say anything else to me. I have no problem having you go to another line. Yeah.
Exactly.
Somehow the bread and the eggs ended underneath the canned goods. Right?
I know. I have no idea how that happened.
You have had that happen?
Oh yeah, I've honestly done that, which it sounds bad, but I did that to one of the customers that threw a canned good at me, and they were not being nice. And so I'm like, okay, that's how you want to be. You want to like talk to me and not be a nice person. Like,
physically assault me with this can.
yeah, it was a can of yams too.
Oh, wow.
So I made sure I smashed their eggs and their bread with all of their cans.
Oh my word.
And I smashed their avocados and I bruised their bananas. I'm like, I'm gonna get you good.
Oh my word.
Wow.
Vengeful. I love it.
Yeah.
It's karma
It is.
coming to them. They got
Exactly.
it coming.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, go ahead, complain to my manager about my poor service to you. I have no issue having my managers go up and pull the camera and audio of how you were treating me. So I'm like, okay. And that's what I tell them, like, you know, you're being recorded both on audio and visual, right?
You want to
And then
play
they're
this
doing
game? I'll play.
Now, is it on a loop? Usually they're like on a loop.
Nope.
And it only stores. Oh, really? They keep the footage for how long?
Up to 6 months.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Yeah.
See, a lot of places they have a continuous loop. So it only stays in the system for a couple, 3 days, and that's it.
Yeah. We
Before
don't
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And if you have to, you can pull the tapes and use them as evidence.
Oh yeah, I've told customers that when they start getting a little bit handsy and they want to start throwing things, I'm like, you do realize you're on video, right? They're like, you can't prove it. I'm like, oh, no, let me call my manager. I can have him pull it up on video right now. If you want to take it to court, it'll still be there 6 months later.
Well, if it's something like that, then they'll make a copy of it, and then you'll have it forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like most places have smile, you're on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, that's typically my last resort before I call a manager. I'm like, you need to come over here. I'm like, save me. This person's crazy.
They just threw a can of yams at me.
Yeah. I'm like, I've been assaulted by what? A can of yams. What did the yams do? I'm like, dude, someone threw it. I'm like, seriously, use your imagination.
Mm.
Are there any other workplace issues that you guys can think of?
I was thinking employee theft.
That would definitely be one.
And it includes more than just items from the company. It's also not working. Like Alex was saying, the guy took off in the truck and to go do his own business. That's employee theft. That's in stealing.
Stole a company car. Yep.
And yeah, he did bring it back, but
And company time.
Mhm.
yeah. Yep, stealing company time and expecting to be paid for it.
It's like,
How else was he going to get his drugs? He needs money for
And that
that.
too. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that alone's bad enough right there.
yeah. Well, worst case scenario, what you could do, and I have seen this, it's pretty sad, but I have seen people do this. The panhandlers, where they'll have these little signs and they're like, need help. And typically I've seen them where they're over by the freeway or they'll be by a gas station, just kind of by the corner of the street, not on the actual property. And I saw one sign in particular and it always stuck out to me, and it said, why lie? I buy drugs.
Really?
So I'm like, well, worst case scenario, if he needed to, he could do that. Honesty.
Yeah.
Like, it's still not good, but at least you're honest.
Yeah.
You're being honest.
Wow. Well. Okay. Well. Yeah.
Yeah, I live in a crazy little town. Don't go to Apple Valley.
I like the homeless people that like really get creative with their signs. Like my family was abducted for the Sith Lord, saving up for a lightsaber.
I'm sorry, if I saw that, I would honestly give him some cash. I'm like, I know it's illegal to panhandle, but I'm like, you know what? For the cause, you made me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, go get that lightsaber.
Yeah, I read somewhere it said if somebody like a panhandler or a street performer can make you stop and watch, they deserve something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. And how do you think the workplace will change in the next 10 years?
Hopefully computers, like the AI robots, will start taking over in retail jobs and for public assistance. And that way actual people can kind of avoid other people. I know it sounds very antisocial. Normally I'm not very like antisocial, but it's normally around the holidays. But I think for other people, they could do other positions where, for instance, for teaching, I know for us it's a little bit different, but for schools where the student could be at home in their own environment with a parent keeping an eye on them, and the teacher can kind of have like that one-on-one interaction and teach them something, where for others they could say, hey, here's what we're learning for the week, and kind of act more as a facilitator than as to a degree someone that's just constantly being a lecturer. So that's kind of what I see maybe as a possibility.
I see less tolerance of. I mean, there's very little tolerance now for violence in the workplace, but I see even less in the future.
Yeah.
I see where like where I'm working, you have to go through a metal detector to get in.
Really?
Yeah.
They want to make sure you're not bringing guns in, and they want to make sure you're not stealing stuff to take out. Because where I'm working, it's actually a warehouse for Amazon, and we ship out all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, which makes sense.
What's that?
It makes sense to have the metal detector.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
what's
higher security.
to a boot?
What?
What if you wear steel toe boots?
They make them go off.
Dang.
Yeah, they still make the detectors go off.
Oops.
Yeah, so they have to like, okay, pull up your pants and steal your socks. Right.
They should
Yeah,
make them take the shoes off.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Some people are very.
That would be a pain. That would be a pain. And then they have full-time security guards there 24/7.
I
Yep.
believe it. Those warehouses have a lot of stuff in there.
Well, that
Yeah.
place, we're talking multi-million-dollar inventory in that place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, yeah, I see tighter security and more protocols like that.
Yep.
I think more drug testing would be nice. I don't know if we'll see it, but I think it would be good.
So you're saying more random? I know a lot of places do pre-employment drug screening, and then they also do if you have an accident at work, then they make you go do a drug test.
Mhm.
Right.
Which you're saying probably more random drug testing as well.
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, especially in city areas, I feel like where you can,
Yeah.
I don't know, like in the reading said, I guess it said, people who do drugs are more likely to go apply to somewhere where they think they won't be tested. So
Right.
true.
test in areas where they think they're not going to be tested, and drive them either out of working or their drug habits, one or the other.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know where I work for the different departments, they have random drug testing. And it obviously random means they don't know when it's going to happen. And they have to physically be driven there by a lead worker or a supervisor.
Really
And
interesting.
if you don't pass, then I think they have like a 3-strike rule. And then you're gone.
Dang,
That's actually very tolerant.
Yeah,
retard.
that is.
Because I've seen places you get tested positive for a drug test one time, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what's funny is that a lot of the drug tests for marijuana use probably won't be valid in most of the states. Or already there are some states where like you can, medical marijuana and all that stuff.
Yeah, Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even need to get into that, but I mean, drug tests will be now for like the deemed harder drugs rather than marijuana because it's so like acceptable apparently.
I guess.
But I've noticed a lot of people that take it for medicinal reasons, they still can't drive. It's almost just as bad as people trying to text and drive.
Well, if they're high, they can't drive anyway.
Oh, don't tell them
I've
that.
seen some people that
They
you can
think they're
clearly
just
tell they're
fine.
not all there and they're still behind a wheel.
No, they shouldn't be driving.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alrighty. That's all the questions that I have.
Sweet. Perfect time for me to go
Good
get
job.
food. I'm starving.
Are you gonna get us pizza, Alex?
I've come to the conclusion that I've failed. I can't figure it out.
No, you can't give up, Alex. No.
We're at the end of the semester. I'm nowhere closer to the beginning of the semester. What is life?
Well, Star Trek had it figured out.
Yeah,
I know.
You can transport it here.
exactly.
Just look at all the others. Look at all the other gadgets that have come from that were on Star Trek that we have now.
Exactly.
I know.
We have computers that talk back to us now, so it works.
I mean, I own
Yeah.
a phaser,
Yeah.
See?
And the communicator, cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I still miss the brick, though. Those things were durable.
You like what?
The bricks. Like the old-fashioned Nokia phones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I don't miss those.
I miss
Samsung.
them because they
go
were
ahead.
so durable.
Samsung's actually coming out with a foldable touchscreen phone.
Really?
Wow.
I think the screen is going to be made of some sort of like plexiglass material, so it never actually like has like a crease or break in it. It just
Yeah.
like bends.
Really? That's interesting.
Pretty cool.
It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Wow. We'll see how they hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they develop a crease after being opened and closed so many times, we'll see.
Mm. I feel like the one upside could be that if they can fold in half and like close, then the screen is never like, out in the open to be dropped like face down.
Yeah.
So potentially could have some.
Oh, speaking of that,
upsides
did
like
you guys get my funky Google Hangout message?
Yeah. I thought, oh man, like a kid must have gotten a hold of his phone or pocket or something.
No, I had it at work, and somehow I got onto Google Hangouts, and it was every time I'd move, it was touching the screen.
Oh no.
Yeah, you ought to go to Google Hangouts, you'll see it. It's probably a good couple 300 letters.
Good
Random
paragraph
letters.
of gibberish.
Yeah, just gibberish, random.
He was trying
And when
to
I
do
found
Morse
it-
code. And it
What's
wasn't
that?
working.
I didn't hear you. What?
You were trying to do Morse code, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then when I discovered it, it was already sending the message.
No.
So I couldn't stop it.
Oops.
Oh well.
Oops.
Yep. Oops. Oh well.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right.
So for the last doohickeys paper, when is it actually due?
I think next week.
Next week.
Next week. Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I haven't signed up for a section, but I can do. It looks like have two people done something so far? I can do something. I'll do
Yeah,
one of the
I did.
sections.
I did the environmental and the requirements, the movement. You know what the job duty, like touch, feel, hear, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I did
And-
that one.
I haven't looked at her example. Do we need to actually write out any paragraphs, or is it all right to just kind of list everything out?
I'd say just list everything out.
Yeah.
I haven't. I mean, I saw the notification. I've been busy because I'm trying to get everything done for the semester, but by the end of Saturday.
Right.
So I've got some
Yeah.
plans next week, and I just figured we'd talk about it now. I haven't looked into any of it, but I can do whatever section is needed. I just want to make sure I do it correctly.
Okay.
I actually went to Indeed.com and typed in HR manager, and I wanted to see just examples of job descriptions that they had, and they were all, every one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, none of them were the same.
Maybe that's a
So-
good idea, though. I like that.
Yeah, give me an idea of what what else. And I did not find any of them that were like the ones that we have to write.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Well, if that's the case, I feel pretty comfortable doing bullet points.
I think just as long as you get everything in there that
Mhm.
describes the job, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who wants to submit it?
I can if
Or we can worry about that. Okay. We can worry about that next week after we get it all put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like this one has five positions.
Mhm.
Position overview, position responsibilities, qualifications, physical environmental requirements, disclaimer statement.
Well, the disclaimer statement should be easy. Just find one somewhere and then just rewrite it.
Mm.
kind of embellish it a little bit.
And do what?
Embellish it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you're not plagiarizing, so rewrite it a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely put in their clause saying no eyebrow shaving tolerated in the workplace.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Unless you shave your eyebrows monthly, you will be fired.
No personal mirrors on your desk to print by either.
Yeah. That'd be sad. All of a sudden, you see someone come in with only one eyebrow and the other one's just gone.
Actually, I had some fall out a couple years ago. I had all one side fell out.
What?
Oh my gosh. gosh.
It was weird. It was not my eyebrow, it was my eyelashes.
Oh, funky.
Yeah, it was weird. I was looking in the mirror one day like, wait a minute, there's no eyelashes on that side. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Then they all grew back in. That was weird.
Dang.
So maybe I'm plucking my eyebrows while I'm sleeping or something. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah. All right. So we have one more meeting next week.
Yep.
Bring pizza.
I'm
I nominate
in
you.
charge of it. Oh,
You want me to bring it?
yeah. I'll
Okay.
run the meeting and you bring the pizza.
I'll have Scotty beam it to you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
Do we know what is our meeting over next week? I guess I'll look into that.
Yeah. Oh, are you the discussion leader next week,
Uh-huh.
Alex? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it should be easy. Then. Should be easy. Sounds
Yep.
all right. Hey, it's been fun meeting with you guys.
Same here.
Same.
You guys
Yeah.
have been awesome.
Yeah, I gave you guys 100% for the evaluations that we give each other.
Yes,
Yeah,
me
same
too.
here.
I figure we all work really well together and
Yeah.
Yeah. Minus the pizza. The pizza would be great.
Yeah, that'd probably take points off right there. No pizza. Okay, there goes 50 points right there.
Exactly. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Well, you guys have a good rest of your week.
All
Thank
right. You
Thank
too.
you.
Best of luck if you have finals before our next meeting.
Actually, I have to do the finals for this class, but I'm doing that probably next week.
Yeah, I'll be doing that next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All
other than
right.
that, I'm pretty much done with these classes.
Me too. Enjoyable. I like
Yep.
it.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty, we'll see you guys.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
See you. Take care.